Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting session on TechTablet. With me, Abdunisa Begum, your trainer for the day. And today we are going to learn about heat maps and how do you create these heat maps using Tableau. So if you do not know what are heat maps, do not panic. I'm going to tell you everything about them. So I hope you have learned about the different maps or the charts that we created in our last videos. You have covered it, and I'm sure you are able to create lovely visualizations and reports using those charts. And as you know, these charts we can also combine together and form a dashboard in Tableau, as well as if you want to present those dashboards or charts as a story, you can also create those and present it on Tableau using Tableau. So, these are several uses of Tableau that you can do, and heat maps are one of the chart types that are available in Tableau. The agenda of the session is really simple. I'm going to explain you what are heat maps and where can you use them. And also, you can try creating a heat map in Tableau as well. My name is Abidunisa Begum. I have been providing trainings on R and Python as programming languages for data science since the last 4 years now. And Tableau, I have been training for data visualization. I've created several dashboards. I have helped students create a lot of interviews, crack a lot of interviews for these. So I also help them for their interview sessions, as in mock interview sessions and all. So, that's what I have been doing for the past 4 years now. So that's all about myself. Coming back to the heat map, the real topic. So it depicts values for main variables of interest across two axis variables as grid of colored squares, as you can see it here. Now the axis variables, they are divided into ranges like a bar chart or a histogram. And also each cell color here, it indicates the value of main variable in the corresponding cell range, right? So you can see they are grouped and record here. You can see they are grouped and recorded in some particular time. And from the heat map, darkest colorings in these columns that shows you the intensity. The lightest color it shows you how minimum the intensity can get. There can be 2D density plots as well, right? So the term heat maps is used in a more general sense where data is not constrained to a grid. For example, tracking tools for website, they can be set up to see how users interact with the site, like studying where a user clicks or how far down a page readers tend to scroll. Every click is associated with a position which radiates a small amount of numeric value around its location. So these values are totaled together across all events and then plotted with an associated color map. So this visual language of these tools output associating value with color is similar to the type of heat map I just defined. Now, heat maps of this type are sometimes called as 2D density curves, which type grid-based structure without the ones without a grid-based structure. Now, a very important question: when should you be using a heat map? Okay, when should you be using? Where would you use heat maps? So, heat maps are used to show relationship between two variables. So you can also say it can show the correlation matrix or relationship between two variables, or the intensity or the strength of that relationship is what is seen in the heat map. By observing, how do you observe that? By observing how colors change across each axis, you can observe if there are any patterns in the value for one or both variables. Now, the variables plotted on each axis, they can be of any type, whether they are categorical labels or numeric values. In the latter case, the numeric values must be bent like in a histogram in order to form the grid cells. Where here, so where colors associated with the main variable interest will be plotted, as you can see here. Cell colorings, they can correspond to all manner of matrix, and like a frequency count of points in each bin, or even summary statistics like mean, median, or third variable. One way of thinking of construction of a heat map is as a table or matrix, right? That is the best way with color encoding on these cells. So in certain applications, it is also possible for cells to be, cells, what do you say? Cells to be colored based on non-numeric values. And different visualization applications, they can have different ways of accepting data for plotting a heat map. That also depends. They should have good relationships with applications. Sorry, I meant visualization applications. They can have several ways of accepting data and plotting as a heat map. Now, in the major form, data can be supplied in the same way it would be naturally displayed here as a table. So the first column that will hold values for one axis of the map, while the names of the remaining columns will be correspond with the pins for remaining axis. Values in the columns will be encoded into the heat map itself. And the other common form of heat map data set is that in a three-column format. Each cell is in the heat map is associated with one row in the data table. The first two columns they specify the coordinates and the coordinates of the heat map cell, while the third column indicates the cell's value. So before you start creating your heat map, I have some best practices for you. So first one being choose an appropriate palette color. Palette color. Then you might as well want to include legend that we use. When we are creating a map in Tableau, it automatically comes up. You can show values in cells. Okay, that's also a very good idea. Sort levels by similarity or value. Yes. So I can see that, I hope that you all are able to understand what are these. We can choose, any, what do you say, any palette for different palettes for coloring. You can include a legend. You can also include, show values in cells. You can sort values by similarity or value. You can also select useful tick marks. So what is the meaning of tick marks? For numeric access variables, choices can be made in how bins are set up and how they are indicated in the chart. So if there are a few bins, it is fine to keep tick marks on each bin, like for a categorical access variable. In heat maps also, we have several types. First one being clustered heat map. What happens in this, instead of having the horizontal axis represent levels or values of a single variable, it is common variation to have it that represent measurements of different variables or matrix. We also have this corellogram. Now you know where I'm coming from, what I'm talking about. These are often seen in an exploratory role, helping analysts understand relationship between variables in service of building descriptive or predictive statistics model, right? So I hope this is clear. And if this is all not clear, do let me know in the comment section. I will explain you again over there. Now let's just try to go to Tableau and start working on it. So if you have not already downloaded Tableau, this is the time you can download and you can start working on it while learning. Do not think that after I complete the course, I can learn it. Just first download and start working on it. Only then you can understand the usage and how easy it is to use Tableau. So you can just download Tableau, you can open Tableau Public, you can click on the type of file you're selecting, and in that you'll have to select the name of the file that you'll be selecting. So here I am just taking this Superstore US dataset. This is again an inbuilt dataset in Tableau. You can directly download it from the sample datasets. And here you can select the sheet from your worksheet where you want to work. And this is the worksheet where I am going to work on Tableau. Now, what do? You will take the profit and you will put it in the rows and the columns. Right now, what do I want is I want to aggregate these measures. You can see it here. And then what I want to do is I want to change it to density. So now you can see how the density varies. Then here again, I can also, change its color. So that is also possible, right? So you can see it in a much better way now. So this is how it looks like. The darker the color, the higher the intensity. The lighter the color, the intensity is very less too. So this is how a heat map looks like when you are trying to create it using a scatter plot. You have already seen it when we are using a correlation matrix. Now you can also use geographical maps to show heat maps. What does geographical maps have to do with heat maps? So suppose I'll give you three examples here. So suppose yours is a business, it's an international national business. So what happens? You have to just send your goods to several places. And if you want to look, or to know or to mark down wherever you have to go, or so the best way to describe this would be to see where all your business is spread. So your customers are coming from different parts of the world, but where are they coming mostly? So where do you have most customers will be the darker region, and you have the least customer will be the lightest region, right? In that case. And there could also be another example of a company which has to start providing cabs to its employees. And it has to see how much distance does each employee stay from the office so that they can decide, the fare as well as the timing of that employee reaching to office. So based on that, only all these are divided, and they can also use heat maps to understand that using geographic maps, creating these heat maps on geographic maps. You can do that. So the third one is Uber, right? Uber is a very good example. Uber or whatever cab do you go with, right? Uber or Ola, you can just look, they also have these density charts prepared where they can actually, see where do they have customers from, or where do they have to go, where do they have to drop mostly. So if you want to check the intensity, where do they have most number of customers? That will be in the darker region, and that's where Uber or Ola can also use. So now that I have given you some real world examples, real time examples, I hope you all are really able to understand what is a heat map, and you have seen also how to create one. So create some others using geographic maps and all, and if you have any doubts, feel free to come back to me and ask about it on the comment section. And if you think if I have missed anything throughout the session in heat maps, I could not explain that. So just mention it in the comment section so that I can just go through and pin your comment if that's something really I missed so that others can read and comprehend on it. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with me throughout this session. And I hope you like this session. I would really like to know, have an honest feedback from all of you of how this course has been going. And do you think this course can really help you? Have you been able to understand whatever is being taught in this course? So I would definitely like to read an honest feedback and improve based upon that. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Have a great day and happy learning.